Our lead story of the day is regarding Tucker Carlson parting ways with Fox News and Don Lemon being fired from CNN. We got a lot of speculation happening today. As always, support a true American patriot by hitting that like and subscribe button. Leave us a short, sweet comment down below. The question of the day is, who do you think is going to take over for Tucker Carlson's show? Is it going to be Kayleigh McEnany? Are they going to bring in somebody else that we've never seen before? Let me know in the comment section below. Your help support would be greatly appreciated. Now, as I mentioned, Tucker Carlson has agreed to part ways with Fox News Media. And Fox News said in a statement, quote, "We thank him for his service to the network as a host and prior to that as a contributor." It is insane, folks, that his show was just gone. His last show was on April 21st, and his crew and employees just found out through an email from him yesterday. He has one of the top shows on television in terms of news, especially Fox News. And to give you a perspective, his show, if you were to take like MSNBC and like CNN and other outlets and combine their ratings all together, his show beat out all of them combined. Even his reruns beat out outlets' primetime programming, their original programming. I mean, his show was huge. This was a cash cow for Fox. And so I got a couple speculative things that I think took place here. Again, I don't know for sure, but Carlson was almost always at the top of the ratings in primetime. And I think it has partly to do with the Dominion lawsuit. Now, if you recall, there was this Dominion voting systems lawsuit for defamation that Fox News basically settled with for roughly $800 million. It was a little bit lower. They're not going to pay that entire $800 million. They're probably looking anywhere from $500 to $540 million that they'll have to pay. But I'm curious, this is where the speculation comes in, if this was a part of the agreement in the settlement that one of the hosts, whoever was peddling this defamation, has to be ousted, or maybe it's going to be multiple hosts. We will see in one moment. A lot of people are also talking about Dan Bongino leaving Fox News, and I don't think they are together in terms of, I don't think this had to do with the settlement. I don't think that they are mutually exclusive, or rather, I do think they're mutually exclusive, where Dan Bongino was not able to come towards a contractual agreement per his words. I do watch Dan Bongino every morning. And he did say, hey, we just couldn't come to an agreement. I absolutely love them. We had a good run of 10 plus years, but we couldn't come to an agreement for the show to continue. But they did give him a final farewell episode, which he was definitely grateful for. So there's two mechanisms to what I see happening here. I think there's possibly on one mechanisms or one thing kind of taking place behind the scenes is things weren't as dandy as they might seem between Tucker and Fox News Media. And he's basically like, well, screw this BS, going back and forth with them. Things didn't work out. So they're finally going, well, screw it. You're gone. See you later. We thank you for your service, but you ain't getting a final farewell episode with all your audience and people that love you. Screw you, man. You're out and your employees are done. That could be the case. Again, this is all speculation. It's alleged. I have no idea. I got no behind the scenes stuff. Or it could be the settlement aspect of, hey, he was one of those people in the lawsuit. He was going to have to testify just as much as Sean Hannity was and others. Pick, somebody's going to be gone here. And maybe they picked Tucker, or maybe that was the part of since he was like the top guy's gone. I don't know, but I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think Tucker was out because of the settlement? Or do you think Tucker was out because there's some beef going on behind the scenes? I have a hard time thinking it was beef, because even if there was, it's a cash cow for Fox. I don't know if you could find a bigger name than Tucker. I love Sean Hannity, but I don't know if Hannity's bigger than Carlson. So I don't know where Carlson's going to go. A lot of people want Carlson to go to the Daily Wire, but I don't think the Daily Wire can afford him. The Daily Wire offered $50 million to Steven Crowder, and they could barely afford that. I mean, they were scraping the bottom of the barrel. Tucker is way, way bigger than Steven Crowder, so I don't think they can afford him. I don't know if he has a non-compete clause in his contract to where we're not going to see him for a year or two, just like similar to Bill O'Reilly or Megyn Kelly. And I believe they had a non-compete clause, which is why we didn't see them for a while. Megyn Kelly has her podcast. Bill O'Reilly's doing his own thing. So we might not see this guy for a while. I don't know. More information's coming out. And as more information comes out, I will make sure that I bring you guys all the updated news. Now, that one was unexpected. This one that I'm about to talk about with Don Lemon being fired from CNN going, why did this not happen sooner? We were all expecting this. I mean, the fact that it lasted this long is truly remarkable, but he is kind of the last host to go. You had Brian Stelter, which was amazing. That took so long for that guy to be gone. He was the one that had the show called Reliable Sources. He had more hair than I do, but he's still the bald, kind of heavyset guy. Just an astonishing show name, right? Reliable Sources coming from CNN. Try to wrap your head around that one. Well, Don Lemon, this was also big news yesterday, right? With Tucker Carlson being let go, where he was fired on Monday. And it says here, I was informed this morning by my agent that I have been terminated by CNN. I am stunned. Really? How is it everybody was wondering how you still have a job, Don? Everybody was wondering, and you're stunned? After 17 years at CNN, I would have thought that someone in management would have had the decency to tell me directly. I mean, that is a good point there. You put in a lot of service. You would think that somebody would tell you bluntly and directly to your face. But I mean, hey, that's how a lot of things work in Hollywood, where people go through your manager or your talent agent. So that doesn't surprise me, but you shouldn't be stunned that you were let go, man. To be honest, everybody thought that your time was way, way beyond what it should have been. At no time was I ever given an indication. Oh my God. At no time was I ever given any indication that I would not be able to continue to do the work I have loved at the network, he continued. It is clear that there are some larger issues at play. With that said, I want to thank my colleagues and the many teams I have worked with for an incredible run. They are the most talented journalists in the business, and I wish them all the best. I don't know if they're the most talented journalists in the business. I mean, the whole idea that CNN still says that they're unbiased news and the most trusted newsworthy shows and just media out there, I think is insane. I would rather you just come out and say, hey, we're leftists and we peddle whatever jargon the Democrat Party wants us to peddle at that time, and that's what we're going to go with. But they don't want to do that. And again, I'm stunned myself that Don Lemon thinks that he was stunned that he was just let go. Like I said, we all been talking about this. Chris Cuomo, we said would have been let go. He was let go. Brian Stelter, we're like, hey, why does this guy still have a job? He should be let go. He was let go. Don Lemon, for literally years, probably for like 5+ years, we're like, how does this guy still have a job? He should be let go. Yeah, and he's let go. Lemon's ouster at the network comes as new CEO of CNN said after getting hired that he wanted to help restore credibility at the company and wanted to tamp down on hyper-partisan voices. I mean, hey, at least he's fulfilling here. And if you recall, for those that are longtime Bald Brad Show listeners, that's something that I brought up was when he got put in, Chris Litch or whatever his name was, the CEO that I'm speaking of here for CNN, and how basically he said he wanted to clean house and kind of, as you just recall, bring back the credibility of CNN as if they had any credibility before, but definitely tarnished now after the 17 years of damage that Don Lemon and others have done to the whole media outlet there. But I said, why is Brian Stelter still around? Like you got in a CEO, you said you want to switch things up. Nobody trusts Brian Stelter. Nobody trusts Cuomo. Nobody trusts Lemon, or Lemon. You need to get rid of these guys. Hey, he followed suit with it. This is good. Clean the house a little bit. Maybe people start listening to CNN more. I don't know, but we'll have to see. But hey, he's fulfilling his word here. Lemon got in trouble earlier this year after a spat with 2 female co-hosts who he worked with on CNN this morning. You guys all recall this, where he said Nikki Haley was past her prime. And everybody got, their panties in a bunch over it. I'm not saying it was a great thing to say by any means, but there's different ways to take what he said. And that's kind of where we're at as a society. Somebody says something, and then you automatically take it as something offensive, rather than taking a moment to kind of think what that person might have meant by it, and maybe giving them the benefit of the doubt that maybe through her age, she was maybe past her time as childbearing. I don't know, but trying to just give somebody the benefit of the doubt, I think we don't do as much anymore. And I always, regardless of the side of the aisle that I'm looking at or listening to, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt that this is what they probably meant, rather than going to the directional route that everybody wants to go to of, well, he's going after women. Women are all past their prime. They can't run for president. They can't hold a job, or whatever nonsense it may be. Again, I try to go with the latter part that I mentioned of, hey, maybe he's talking about child rearing. I have no idea. But his ratings have been low. He's been saying some asinine things for quite a while. And I'm kind of glad that the guy's out, because he's just one of those people that peddle and push this nonsense of the progressive left. He says he's unbiased. He is clearly biased. There's a famous clip between him and Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is calling him out going, why don't you just say that you have a bias? And he keeps going, well, I'm unbiased. No, you're not. And he can't comprehend certain things. We talked about this when he was when he had Vivek Ramaswamy, the guy that's running for president of the United States, on CNN the other day, where Vivek was making the connection to the Civil War on how the Civil War was fought for Black people's freedoms. And one of those freedoms and mechanisms that they would have received and inherit was the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. that they would have received that. And Don Lemon was having a huge problem with it, saying that that's not even part of history. That's belittling the history. You're putting it down in one sentence. That's not why the Civil War was fought, and all these things. And he couldn't actually understand the argument that Vivek was saying. I mean, how can you sit there and be an anchor and a journalist and a host and not actually be able to understand at least what they're talking about and the connections that they're making? It's insane. But let me know again what you think about this in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.